This is Entrepreneurial Minds, episode number 10. Dun, dun, dun.
We back with Entrepreneurial Minds. What's going on, world? It's boy King Arthur.
You know what?
You like that?
You sit here and try to steal my intro, huh? Try to steal my intro, man. Man, look, what's up, man? This is Gary, man. We back with another one, man. Episode number 10. I know they kind of spread apart, but here we go. Episode number 10. Even though he tried to steal how I was doing my intro from the beginning of the show, from episode number 1. And the worst thing is you bagged on me for doing it, though.
I did, bag with you.
That's the worst thing. You tried to get me for doing it, and then now you over here biting, though.
Yeah,
But I see how you do.
Great minds think alike, so what up?
Yeah, man. But what's going on, y'all? We here, episode number 10. You got Marcus Y Rosier. Did I get it right?
You got it. You got it.
Oh, I'm good. I didn't say Rosier like some of the other people be saying. But man, yeah, he's in the building, gonna share some good stuff with us, man. I know a lot of people want to be a speaker. A whole lot of people want to be speakers, and he is a speaker. He's an author. He's an author coach. You said you do speaker coaching as well, right?
Absolutely, man. I call it communication coaching. So from top to bottom, anybody that speaks in any setting, from radio, TV, you name it, I help coach them on how to organize that.
So you coach people how to communicate with their girl too?
Hey, man, listen, I can't turn water into wine.
Look, before we get too far, I know it's about to be a good episode. I can tell it already. I can feel it in the air. I want to say thank you to all our previous guests for coming on the show. I want to say thank you to all our loyal listeners. We appreciate y'all. And continue to listen and look out for us. Maybe come to y'all real soon.
Yeah, we got some stuff coming up. Some good stuff coming up for y'all. And it's not just on the podcast. We're talking about like in-person type stuff.
Yeah, people, so get ready. We're coming. So, I guess, Gary, we can get the show started, man. Let's go.
All right, that's a bet. All right, well, Marcus, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and, you know what I'm saying, what you do and you know, where you are and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, I'm Marcus Y Rosier is my name. What I do is I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a communication coach and author coach. Who I am is just a man who's decided that it's important that it's not about what you say, you let your life speak for you. So it's my hope to inspire every person that if I could say nothing at all, my life would say I'm positive, I'm loving, I'm always driving people to see themselves like they should and know what's possible.
Wow.
I like it. You didn't practice that a lot. That flows so nicely right there, man.
That's off the top. Bars.
Oh, man.
Bars, right? So where are you located?
I'm located in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Panama City, Florida, but I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
What's so far north?
Man, I wanted to live in Atlanta my whole life, so I just up and decided we're going to make it happen. Let's move to Atlanta.
Every black person want to live in Atlanta.
For me, I grew up with a lot of friends here. Panama City's so small. You're talking about less than, I would say, 20, 30,000 people, I believe. You know, statistically, real small. So I needed to be somewhere that I could fly wherever I want. I saw where I wanted my life to go. And I knew that if I was going to build a brand and a business for myself, I wasn't trying to build a duplex. I wanted to build a skyscraper. And that couldn't happen in Panama City.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. And that's the thing. A lot of people realize sometimes you just got to go. If you want to, you know what I'm saying, make something happen, like you really want to make it happen, you got to go.
Absolutely.
So what created the man that we're hearing now? Like, where did you start out as, you know, back in Panama City, especially, I guess, more on your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, man, I can honestly say I've been drawn to entrepreneurship since I was a kid. So I'll give you that, then I'll give you what made me change the mentality that allowed me to do it. For as far back as I can remember, 10, 11 years old, both of my parents are pastors. And I noticed that most of the kids there are at church all day, every day. So I started going with my mom to Sam's Club, buying candy and snacks and selling it to the kids whose parents was at church all the time like me, which made it, you know, that was the first business. The second one was when do-rags was really big. I started going with my mom to the buyer's market, and I was buying do-rags, a box of them for $4 and was selling them for $3 and $4 a piece. You know, so if I sold one, I would buy boxes of, 30, 40 of them. So as long as I can remember, that's been the case. My first job, real job, was with my parents, and they fired me. They hired me to teach me responsibility and said that I was supposed to vacuum every room at the church. Well, I hired a friend of mine and paid him to do it, and I inspected the work. They found out they fired me. But I was explaining to them that's what business is. Like I took a little bit of the loss of the profit. I say that to say it's embedded into me that's what I've always been drawn to. As far as the man that I am now, I worked at Florida State University as the assistant operations manager for a couple years. Mm-hmm. And I just got frustrated with it, but I decided I'm not going to complain about a life that I created for myself. You know, at the end of the day, complaining, that's nothing more than building a house and then complaining about the size of it. You built your life. You know, complain about the size of what you built. So I made a decision that I was going to use everything that I knew, everything I had, to trace my life. And the thing that I've always been good at, man, is communication. Whether it's basketball, anywhere, when I talk, people listen. I used that and began to build out the tool, and we can talk more about that, of how I developed my craft, how I invested in the concept that I came up with. But from that day to this one, mentally I made the shift to put myself on punishment every day, like your parents used to do, to make sure that every day I was getting the task of working on me done.
That's a goal right there in itself, man. Putting yourself on punishment like your parents would. That is gold in itself right there.
Because that's some hard work to do, because no one's there to check you anymore. Yeah. You're the only guardian of your life, you know, so that's some good stuff, man.
Yeah, that's powerful right there. So you was working the job, and that's another thing you said, is that you couldn't be mad about you creating this life. Like, you did it. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. That's the first step above all, that for all the listeners have to realize that's the number one step, is you have to take credit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to, exactly. You the credit is all yours. You know what I'm saying? It's your responsibility to build it the way you want it. And before you know what I'm saying, do that, you can't do anything.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So we heard you tell us a little bit about your previous entrepreneurial venture. So were you finished with your story? You had another one too, or that was both of them?
No, man. I mean, you're good. You're good. However, hey, I'm just a fly on the wall, man. This is y'all thing.
All right, so we'll go straight with, what do you think it takes to have an entrepreneur mind?
You still messing. You almost had it. And I was in there thinking, like, I was about to give you props. Like,
you know what, Gary? We're going to make it happen.
You had it right the first time, man.
We're going to make it happen.
Yeah, what do you think it means to have an entrepreneurial mind?
I think that to have an entrepreneurial mind, you have to do something that I like to call mind your business. I'm not talking about not being nosy, although if you're doing that, you need to cut it out. But I use whenever I'm talking to any person about the mindset that it takes, an entrepreneurial mindset, you have got to, I use it as an acronym of making intentional, necessary decisions. The ability to every day be able to govern your actions and decisions is an entrepreneurial mindset. You're going to take some loss. You're going to take some wins. So you can't go into it and still spend money like you used to with a guaranteed 2-week paycheck. Mm-hmm. Every decision you make has to be with the future in mind. So mentally, you have to visit the place that you're trying to get to and make decisions now with the future in mind. Nobody gets it because they're not living in the future with you. Mm-hmm. Only you do. So you got to be comfortable in your skin. You got to develop confidence. You got to not be afraid to be first. You know, the first person that does anything takes the hits and the criticism, while the followers get all the praise. And you got to be comfortable with that. So I think it's a shift in mentality that you recognize that if you now a lion, if you don't kill it, you don't eat. You know, it becomes that type of mentality that I tell people all the time. They ask me, why do I get up so early? The question becomes, and I'll say this, I hope I've answered your question, and I'll use this as an example for anyone that's going to hear this podcast. There's so many people that want to be entrepreneurs, and their reason is because they don't want to have to be at work at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or work 8 hours. That's about the gist. The question I ask is, if you didn't have to be at work at 8 o'clock, what time would you go? If you didn't have to work 8 hours, how many would you work? Until you can figure out and control yourself enough to say, if I sign up to do anything, I'm going to put in enough work. Like, if nobody judged your work, how great of work would you do? Until you can perform excellence at that level with nobody watching, somebody needs to continue to watch you. And an entrepreneur understands that it's not about anything other than you forming within yourself a value system of excellence in whatever you do. So if you're going to touch it, don't touch nothing that you cannot do excellent in. That's what I developed in me.
I got to backtrack, though, because I write a little slow. So I was trying to write down your acronym that you threw out. You said making intentional, Necessary decisions.
Mind your
Okay.
business.
Yeah.
About the business of you. You want to make an intentional, necessary decision about the business of you. Because at the end of the day, you are the CEO and manager of yourself. And are you going bankrupt, or is the business thriving? And it's going to thrive off of the life and consistency you make.
Mm-hmm. And so, you know what's funny is me and Arthur, we were talking last week, and remember I told you, I said doing a show or like talking about the difference of like it's a completely another animal when once you get out there on your own and you know like you have to grind, eat. There's no alternative. Like there's no backup. There's no nothing. You don't have no job. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother grind to have a part-time business and you working for somebody else. But when you your own CEO, there's nobody behind you. There's nothing. It's just you. It's a whole nother animal then. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's a whole nother thing. And some people really aren't cut for it. I mean, I don't get up like super early. I did at one point, but I don't get up like ridiculously early, but I like to work late at night. But I still don't even sleep in late. I can't even sleep in late still though. So I don't get a whole lot of sleep.
I get it, man. I think many of us are that way. People ask me, am I a morning person or a night person? I'm both. You know, I'm up to after 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I'm back up. My clock is set for 6:30. 6 o'clock now that I'm challenging myself to do some other things. And it boils down to, I always try to help people with life. You know how much it costs for you to pay your cell phone bill. You know how much it costs for you to pay your car payment. Most people don't know, in reference to time, how many hours does it cost to run your life? And they couldn't tell you. And that's how you determine your sleep pattern. How much time do you need in a day to maximize it and to run the business of you?
That's a good breakdown.
I'm still thinking about it.
Or the crunching numbers. Math wasn't your subject, brother.
Well, we'll get into that. Like, that's part of the concept that I live by. I live by a concept that I started in 2010 called Win the Day. Win the Day is the concept of it. And it's basically you make every hour of the day worth $100. The whole day is worth $2,400. And you pay yourself a minimum of $240, which just equals 2 hours and 40 minutes, into areas of life that you want to improve. So basically, at a minimum, you owe you out of 2,400 hours or $2,400, 240. And that's how you can start seeing the traction. So now I need 18 to 1,900 hours or 19 hours to run my day. That means the only place I can cut out was sleep. So I get 5 hours is what I'm running off of because I need 19 to run my day.
Yeah, that's about the average right there. 5 hours is good. That's straight right there. 5 hours is straight. So tell us about your first speaking engagement. Well, you see, you grew up in the church, right? So you probably spoke in church and everything like that.
I did not.
You didn't?
I did not. My goal in life was to make sure I never spoke in church.
Well, you did a lot better than me. I couldn't run from it. Like I tried, but yeah, I couldn't run from it, man. So when was your first real speaking engagement? Well, from once you made a decision that that's what you wanted to do when you was at Florida State, when after that did you get your first true speaking engagement? Man,
my first speaking engagement was in 2009. Like real speaking engagement. And it was actually in a church setting. My father saw something on me and was like, man, you've got it. You have a way with words. You have a way with understanding, processing information like I've never heard. Like throughout life, he saw I could hear something and remember it forever. So he spent in the middle of a service, about 400 or 500 people. He says, today my son's going to speak. I'm like, nah, your son is not going to speak. Long story short, he sits down on the front row and wouldn't move. Nobody would do anything. And they just all waiting on me and looking at me. I finally get up, no notes, no nothing. I speak for 10, 15 minutes. From there, someone else asked me to speak that following week. Small problem, though. I was terrible. I had a lot of great information, but no structure, so nobody could follow me. that was where it kicked in. I was terrible. After that, I didn't speak for a little while. And when things hit rock bottom with business and things of that nature, a guy named Richard Tuggle, I still remember him, with Edward Jones Investment Group, asked me to come and speak for a breakfast. I thought it was breakfast with him and his staff. It turned out to be about 700-800 people who were older Caucasian men. I spoke for 25 minutes about a program that I called I Will Be Great Today. And from there, the rest is history, where all I did was the concept of Win the Day. I wanted to be great at communication, but I wasn't good at it. So I started investing that 2 hours and 40 minutes back into the gift of communication, learning everything I could learn about how to articulate a thought, how to organize in my head, how to connect with the audience, and that's kind of how it took off.
That is amazing to see the amount of self-awareness it takes to understand and know your craft, and then say, hey, I'm going to take this and make this better, and this is God's gift to me, I'm going to use it and make it the best thing I can. That's crazy to have that much self-awareness, bro.
Oh, man, you have to. I knew I was terrible, and a lady, I went to the restroom to wash my hands. The same lady that told me, oh, that was amazing. I go in the restroom to use the restroom, wash my hands. I hear her talking to the people outside the door saying, oh, that was so awful, man. But the thing is, I knew I was bad because I didn't feel good about it. They knew I was bad. So imagine you're passionate about something you're not good at. So you want to do it, but it's tormenting to know you're not good at it. And it forces you. There's a drive that forces you to improve at something that you're passionate about. And I was just fortunate enough that I was able to develop it. And now it's a career where I'm paid to do it.
And that is the goal for a lot of people, is to turn that passion and work it into, you know what I'm saying, turn their dream into being what they do for a living, man. So I remember seeing the video and I was doing some research on you, right? I seen the video and it said something about, it was Pastor or Dr. Marcus Rosier. The video of you doing that in 2009, is that on YouTube?
I don't think that one is. I was back home about a year ago, and there's probably a video where my dad asked me to stand up and talk with him. So it's probably one more recently of he and I just having a conversation.
Okay, so that's that one.
About that process. So when he had me just stand up and talk. So 5-6 years later, we can laugh about it. But I wasn't happy at the time.
I'm sure.
Yeah, of course not. So I guess break down for the listeners a little bit about Win the Day. You know, what exactly is this about? I mean, have you read, it's called The Miracle Morning.
Oh, yeah, The Miracle Morning.
Right.
I can find it. Hold on. Go ahead.
Hal Elrod, I think. Hal Elrod, who wrote it. And that basically talked about how you should start your day, right? So Win the Day, I'm guessing, talks about the structure of during the day.
It's more than that, man. Win the Day for me, it literally is a life practice. It's not just a concept. So it can be applied into any area of life, not just a day. The concept in and of itself is based out of, I was an athlete, so everything was about winning. When I was young, I was making money, so then it became about money. I took those two components, the competitive nature of wanting to win, and now started competing against myself to see if I can every day commit to 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I took the whole money aspect and made every hour worth $100. So what I show people how to do is I explain to them that whether you are President Obama serving 4 years in the White House or you Pookie who doing 4 years in prison, they both get 24 hours in a day. What we are learning is life pays us all the same daily wage. So I teach people how to take life created like money, $2,400, and be able to look at your life and imagine if for this radio show, you decided, okay, that's $100 if you're on there for an hour. And at the end of a week, if you could see where you spent your life, you can determine what is your area of priority. So whatever's important to you, whether you're a single mom, I help mothers be able to see how do you balance work, taking care of your kids, being a great wife. You can look at it, and just like how you create your budget and say this much goes to rent, this much goes to cable, you can break out your life like that to see the success of it. But the minimum amount that you have to spend on yourself or whatever you want to improve, anything that's connected to you, is 2 hours and 40 minutes every day. So that's the concept of Win the Day, is taking life and taking control of it and being able to see where am I spending my time, my efforts, and you'll see the result of that by that minimum amount. So the concept is that.
Okay, so and is this a compounded 2.4 hours a day? Is this?
Yes,
okay.
It's compounded. It's not one time. So you might wake up in the morning 30 minutes early and say 30 minutes in the morning is going into my spiritual life that you want to pray. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes afternoon is exercise. Like every part of your life, you are creating line items like you would do for business. And you're now taking the $200 out of the $2,400 and you're paying those line items that are most important to you. So the concept is basically paying yourself.
I get it. It makes a lot of sense. It sounds just like a monthly budget. So what you would get.
Absolutely. $1,680 a week, $240 a day.
But most people can't even get their regular budget right.
Very true. They're really close to filing bankruptcy on life.
Listen to our show there, Get It Right in the Right, Gary.
Yep. So you said after you did it with your father, You stopped doing it for a while, kind of worked on your craft. How long did it take you until you say you were satisfied with what you did standing in front of people?
Oh, man, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, honestly. Like I literally didn't start feeling great about it. For me was throughout that process, I tell any person, year one as a speaker or anything else, it's like learning dance steps. You still got to count 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Year two, you counting, but sometimes you memorize it. By year three, you groove. You ain't got to count. You just listen to the music and you go. And that was kind of how it was. It's learning your voice, learning your tone, learning what you're good at, what you should never do, how to organize, how to connect with an audience. You know, so about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I think I got a great feel of how to really make love to your craft. You know, if you hear the language of that, to be so intimate with what you do, that you know what does it take for you to be effective. So I'll use this as a quick example to answer your question. You said you come up from a church context as well. In the African American church, it's call and response. If you don't talk back to that preacher, he's going to go off on everybody. He's going to tell the whole church off on his keep telling kids ugly. That's what's wrong with y'all preaching.
Better hear amen or preacher. He's something.
Because he needs the energy of an audience for him to feel like he's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I planned on being a communicator across all boards. So if I will be a communicator, certain audiences is not going to say anything to me. But if I need them to say something for me to be great at my gift, I'm at a disadvantage. So when I say make love of your gift, that you're so intimate with it, you know how to channel that to get what you need to still be great at what you do. So whether you say anything or not, how can I still give you the same energy of speech with no words coming back?
And that leads me to a question, right? Because you're talking like feeding off the response, right? So just like a preacher feeds off a response. So in your coaching, have you ever coached a comedian?
I have not coached a person that just does that as like a main gig. I've coached someone that does it on the side per se.
So like the mindset there, because like literally if no one's laughing, I can imagine that there's like, I know for sure, I don't care how good I think I am. If no one's laughing, I wouldn't be able to keep my composure and still keep throwing jokes out, right? It's like, you're going to be like, it's going to break it down because everybody's just number crickets, right? You're supposed to hear people laughing, right? So like they was doing that part-time.
Man, what I would tell them is what I tell any person that's a part of I have a program called Confident Communicators. And what we work on is creating a reserve tank. Like you ran out of gas. You knew that you was dying a slow, miserable death. Your speech is not hitting. You plan on speaking to business professionals. You get there and it's 8th graders. How you flip the script to be able to relate to them? So you dig into your reserve tank. If you're a comedian, you immediately already have jokes prepared that you can dig into that is about you being corny on purpose. So you make the fact that you're not funny.
Oh, okay. I get you.
You immediately, but you already have to have stored up before you got on stage a reserve tank of jokes that allows you to pull from those. And that's what I help people do.
Okay.
You sound like you prepared for your punches, man.
Huh?
No, like you prepared for your punches.
Yeah, he did. He good today, man. He good. I mean, see, but definitely. Well, I thought about that because what I'm saying. I thought with the preacher and the comedian, and then plus like a couple interviews we go. I said a joke, and I got crickets, and Arthur didn't even back me up. He ain't chuckle or nothing. You know what I'm saying?
It was funny.
He just left me hanging. Afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, it was funny." But I'm sitting there like, "Dang, but you ain't even chuckle though. You ain't even give me nothing." Like,
and I was just like, But sorry, I'm a great man for that. I apologize.
You ain't shit, man. No, but so, I mean, I'm intrigued by this because, like, for one, I know I'm like a terrible speaker when it comes to public speaking. Like, I'm terrible. I get nervous, ridiculously nervous, standing in front of a crowd of people trying to talk. Even if it's something that I know, like I just about kind of know about. Last night I got up, went to an investor meeting in the area because I do real estate investing, and I got up to throw a deal out to people. And shoot, I mean, I know about the deal, and everything. So, but still, I'm shaking. I'm nervous. And then in my mind, I'm like, damn, hope they don't see me shaking. So I'm nervous about being nervous. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, dang. So how do you help people kind of overcome that? Or is it more of just with practice?
It's several things. It's practice. It's also clarity. The clearer you are in your mind, the more confident you become. So if I were to ask you, hey man, tell me your name again, you're not nervous with telling me your name because you're confident that you know the information.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are crystal clear and you've heard it, there's 3 steps that I would tell any person. And this is your coaching right here on air. This is free of charge.
I'm writing everything down.
Absolutely. The first thing you want to do is you want to write everything out, like either an outline where you can, it's a psychological thing. If you can see it on paper and you can process it in your head, mentally you store it to memory. You've seen it. You have visual learning. Second thing you want to do is say it. Like if you can hear yourself say the words out loud when you are standing in front of an audience, you have something to draw from. And the third thing, if you have the time, would be either to record yourself by audio or by video. Now you can go back and watch it. So it's not a self-conscious thing when you get in front of an audience because you know what you sound like, you know what you look like, and you know the information. So there's a level of confidence that rises with that. What happens normally is a person is completely clear on everything they're going to say, as well as they're uncertain of how the audience perceives them. If you can eliminate those 2 things, you'll be more confident.
And all I hear is when you explain to him his coaching advice, all I hear is self-awareness, self-awareness, self-awareness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hands down. You know, every business, every marketing tool, every branding tool, the problem with most people is they're their biggest cheerleader. So they don't realize and have a subjective point of view, or objective point of view, But they can look at something and say it's bad. Their judgment is off, but they can see what everybody else does bad. In order to be creative or great at anything, you have to step back far enough to be able to see everything in its art form. Like what is the legitimacy of it? So when I listen to speakers, I listen to myself with the same high level of criticism. Like with this interview, I'm already processing through and could say, I was too long on this. I should have done this more clear. I should have mentioned when today in the early part when they asked me what was my transition. Like I'm processing while I'm even on this interview about what could be better.
Perfection at its work right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry about that noise. I live in Virginia Beach. Jet noise everywhere.
No problem. You got to move to Atlanta. You won't have jet noise. You might hear people walking by saying, "What's up, shop?"
Oh man, that's funny though.
That was some good coaching for you, Gary. You can take the advice, Gary?
I wrote it all down right here. Right in front of me. You know what I'm saying? But so when did you write your first book?
Man, my first book was written last year in January, February time. It was released in July. When the Day was not the first book that I wrote, but it was the first book that I published. The first book that I wrote was called Can I Keep It 100? I'm about to release that now. The second book that I wrote was a book entitled Never Going Broke. When the Day was the third book that I wrote, and it hit home so much for me. So to make a long story short, in a 30-day period, I wrote 4 books and 12 ebooks. After 20 years wanting to write a book, and finally sat down, broke the barrier, and wrote all those books that quick.
Oh, you said you wrote 4 books in 30 days?
4 books and 12 ebooks in 30 days. And 3.5 months, I wrote a total of 23 books.
Goodness gracious.
Word. People get the word. Get the word.
What? That is crazy.
That's amazing.
Man, I think it's mentally all it is, and I'm not the smartest person. I've learned, when he says self-awareness, I've learned my weaknesses because I do inventory of myself. So I'm one of those people that's talented, and when you're talented, you lose interest easy. Like anything that comes easy, you lose interest on.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that takes me longer than 14 days, I notice I don't finish it. And that was my problem before. So now my window of time, I can't write the book in 14 days or less. We don't knock it out. So I do intense focus every day. Like when the Day, I did 1 chapter a day. When I say put me on punishment, I woke up in the morning, said no TV, no internet, no nothing until the chapter's written. Got up in the morning, wrote the chapter, went on with my day. 10 days later, we had a book, 227 pages. We cut it down to 100 and some change to make it an easier read. Second book was the same thing. I did 14 days. Another book I did in a day. The third one I did in 3 days.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. So actually, this is one of the questions I wanted to ask you before we actually started the show. And I was like, I was going to hold on. Is that It's not a major question. It ain't nothing major. You know what I'm saying? It was more of, you mentioned, you know what I'm saying, that you sent your calendar stuff, stuff you want to be on the calendar to your team, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking of, what does your team structure look like right now?
Man, my team structure, I don't have a huge staff. I have three main people, and then they have a team, if you so to speak. So they might have one or two people that can funnel it. And the way it works is we are one cohesive team. There's no titles. There's no president of this. There's no executive of this. It's about the work. Mm-hmm. So all we are is one big team, and we get the job done. What they help me do is, they understand that every person has their own talent, but we cross one another. Because I've done some levels of marketing, because I've done some levels of branding, I'm at my highest when I'm communicating. So my team structure allows me, I've got a marketing person, that's a marketing and branding person. I've got another person that's great with administration, and I've got another person that backs me up that's great with just tasks, calendars, and organizational structure. As a whole, we're good, because I can do what I do. The person that likes organizing can take the work of the person who just likes to be creative and brand. The administrator can make the phone calls and contractual agreements and proofreading. Everybody's functioning at their highest level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next thing, if somebody's listening to it, I need a videographer. I need you. I'm looking for you.
You in Atlanta?
Yeah.
I know the young boy for you, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll listen. He'll call you, reach out to you.
Listen, if you know him and he's ready to grind, I'm talking about get it. I believe in my concept is speed of execution, man. Like, how fast can we get it done?
Okay.
He can't get the position unless he's there gonna listen to the show.
For sure.
And that way he learned, he got to listen to the show. And everybody know that you missed out on the opportunity if you don't listen to our shows.
We keep telling them.
Like, nah. But
so how'd y'all form this team? How did this team come together? Was it like a mastermind group, or?
It wasn't, man. It wasn't. Honestly, it came like everything else come. I was praying about, okay, I was getting to a point where I was doing everything myself, and my calendar was picking up. I didn't have the time. Opportunities was coming that I knew I didn't have the infrastructure for. One young lady, I went to an event that she put on for, I don't know if I could say the organization she did it for, but it's a large Fortune 500 company that she put on an event for. I happened to run into her and was talking about the event, not knowing she put it on. And she asked me what I did. I started telling her about what I was trying to do, the team that I needed. She was so interested in it that we exchanged information, coming to find out that's what she did. The same thing that I said. So it just organically happened. The other two people were around. I kind of knew them and watched them. And I did what every leader, every visionary should do. Sell the dream, sell the vision, and show people how their skills can thrive as a part of it. Because nobody wants to just help you build. They want to see what's in it for me. So I showed them, this is what this looks like for you. This is what we're trying to do. This is how this benefits your life. This is what we're trying to build as a whole. So the bottom line of what I'm going first, like as a brand, I'm already moving forward. But once we do this, these are the subsidiary companies that will come out of this. Mm-hmm. And that's how it happened.
That is brilliant, almost. Like when you first started, I quote, you said, it comes like everything else does. I prayed. Boy, if that wasn't a powerful thing for me.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's number one. You know, my first, I always tell everybody, the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes of your day is the biggest component of your habits and the results you see. My first 30 minutes, I don't look at cell phones. I don't use my cell phone for none of that. My first 30 minutes is me and God. I need to know what, I got to tap into that spiritual side. I need to know what I think about the day before I see what somebody else thinks on my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's a great way to start your day.
For sure.
Absolutely. We locked from then, we locked and loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And so, was it easy to get your team on board with your vision and in the direction of everybody, which way you guys wanted to go, or everybody had input?
For the most part, it was fairly easy. Some of it not so much, because you have to think about it. Right now, we're not $1 million company, so I can't make you rich. I can't pay your health care, your your investment package, your profit. Like, we're not there yet. What it was seeing how each person adds value to us as a whole. So I'll give you an example. If you were to tell somebody, if you were to build as an affiliate partner, I'm giving y'all the game right now. If you needed affiliate partners to build the viewership of the listeners of your show, if you went to somebody and said, hey, man, tell everybody about our show, they're not going to do it. Few people will, but if they did, they're not going to be consistent. But if you said, hey, man, I've decided that let's make a partnership. However many, you got a great following on social media of 25,000 people. If you can post this many times a day, we'll give you free ad space. Anything you want to announce, any product of what you're doing, you can come on our show. As well as we begin to get sponsors, we'll give you 10% of whatever you bring in. Guess what they're going to do now?
Bring you business?
Exactly. So it becomes more about the margins. You look and see what you need to make. You create margins that make them partners, that they have equity in what you're doing.
Brilliant.
Got our mind spinning over here, man.
I got caught in the lights again. I seen so much, and he was like, "Oh, I gotta come back."
I mean, yeah, this is good stuff. Now, our listeners gonna get a whole lot because we're sitting here just eating this all up right now, man.
They're gonna love you for this, so yeah.
Hey, man, tell them reach out. Follow me on social media at Marcus Y Rosier, man. I'm the easiest person in the world to find with the FBI jealous girlfriend. If you search that name, Marcus, the letter Y, Rosier. That's the same website, social media, everything.
So let's go back to, so we talked about your speaking. How do you develop it? So you put yourself on punishment and taught yourself your craft. You know what I'm saying? And now it really worked from you just wanting to do it and sucking at it to being good at it and getting paid for it. So now, how did the coaching come about?
Man, I still battle with it, to be honest with you. Okay. My mentor kept telling me, man, you got a gift. And this was when I still thought I was terrible. He's like, man, you got a gift. You should be teaching other people how to do what you do. I was like, nobody's going to want me to coach them on how to speak. All right, no, you got a gift, man. Teach them how to communicate, whether that's writing books, whether that's talking to people, whether that's sitting in an interview, like teach them how to communicate. I'm like, what? Nah. So I kept, everywhere I would go to speak, somebody would ask me, man, do you help people do what you do? I still didn't listen to it. Finally, this year, I made a decision, okay, I owe it to at least test it. I threw it out there and said, hey, listen, I'm only going to take 10 people on because I don't have the time. I only do it on Tuesday and Thursday. Reach out to me if you're interested. We had 70-something people immediately sending for communication coaching. We already was doing author coaching for 2-3 years, so we was already helping people publish books. Mm-hmm. But from that, when we saw a waiting list, I was like, man, that's a demand. Everywhere I spoke this year, we've got a waiting list that's crazy of people that's wanting the same thing, from teachers who are trying to move into administrative roles, that are trying to figure out how to position themselves in the eyes of their coworkers and their boss as more than just a teacher, but to see them as an administrator, all the way to college students. I mean, from top to bottom, when I'm seeing some of the people I get a chance to interact with and coach, it's an amazing thing. Even some people, I have a client that works in a corporate space that's trying to pitch new ideas and new products and implementation and trying to get more confident in that. So it's been an amazing journey.
Okay.
You said the first time you put it up, 77 people reached out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. It was crazy to me.
And
it was very informal. It was literally like a post on social media, video post.
Okay.
I'm thinking about doing this. Like normally, I got to roll out. We do a marketing plan. We roll it out. We email campaign. This was none of that. This was
yeah. So you just asked I was about to ask because that kind of turned out first time. I was going to ask you, how did you put it out there? Because you just posted it on Facebook, just all nonchalantly, and it just bang.
This was not even Facebook. This was on Periscope. I did a quick video on Periscope, and that was the turnout from Periscope. I talked about it on Facebook, and it was a different turnout. Each one, the initial from Periscope was 77, and the number just kept growing from there. I still now won't take but so many. I do the way I set it up. I do a group training with 10 to 20 people. And I only take 5 one-on-one clients at a time. And that's in a month period. And if they want to stay on longer, we schedule it out and structure it out. Because I believe in people. Some people just want your money. To me, it's not about money. It's about productivity. So if you and I are working together, I like to see results. If someone pays you for something, they're mad if they don't get it. But the person who got the money is fine because they got paid. I don't create a structure like that. I create a structure that forces execution. Because I'm not going to work with you for long periods of time. I'll give you your money back first before I see you continue to pay me and not execute. So I force people to not be addicted to education and allergic to execution. So I like to see people take it, move with it. So I cycle it. But now you might have to wait a month for us to work together. It's a case by case. I don't cut everybody off. But if there's an essence where we're just getting on every week, I'm not, and I don't want to sound rude, but I'm not a babysitter. Like, let's all be as effective as we possibly can. I want to see every person successful. And we can't be that if I'm nothing more than a crutch for you to just sit and talk and learn and write down notes, but you're not going to do anything with it.
I told somebody that yesterday. I was telling somebody else I talked to this morning that I was like, you cannot get yourself stuck, you know what I'm saying, get analysis paralysis, want to sit there and just learn everything, and then you never do anything at all. You can learn the process as you go. As long as you know that first step, why can't you do that first step? Like,
knowledge without application is useless, people.
Completely useless. Completely. Now, knowing that, and you know that if people won't execute, it's going to be like they're wasting their money paying you, right? So do you have some type of interview process you do or anything to see if you can kind of weed them people out?
Absolutely. I have intake, and I do an initial assessment. That's on both sides. I mean, they might realize that I'm not the person for them. I might be a little too forward. I might be a little too aggressive. And I'm not rude or anything. I just believe in there's certain things that gets the best out of people. And I believe in that. So we both go back and forth, and I ask, what's your expectation? How often do you expect us to communicate? And there's somebody that says, I want to be there whenever I call you, talk to you. Well, that's cool, and I understand it, but I don't have the time to devote that. So you might not need me. Like, I'm not talking to you every day. Some people genuinely are looking for a friend, like someone that they can run everything past. That's not what we're creating. So that whole initial phone call, as well as the intake form that they fill out, allows us to do that. And there's some that still slip through it. And what we do is, the moment we start working together, whether we're helping with business, if we're doing author coaching, communication coaching, life coaching, we do a current state assessment to see where you are. We basically cast a vision for where you're trying to go. We do crescendo points to see when should you start seeing results. And we work backwards to be able to show a person. We start out where it's 80-20. I do 80% of the work, you do 20. Because you paid me, you should see that I work hard.
Okay.
By the time we move along, we're 60-40, 50-50. As we move along, then you do more.
So making people be accountable for their actions, for their results, and for inevitably their life and vision in the whole is kind of what you can do, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of your story, man, I mean, just the story from how you went from where you were to sucking to being good to getting paid and getting all the clients, stuff that you're getting now. A lot of what I'm seeing is just straight dedication. Every time you set your mind that you was going to do something, you truly dedicated to actually taking the action to do it. You know what I'm saying? And like, you dedicated to putting in that time to study to be better at your craft. You know what I'm saying? When you wrote your books, like, I'm really impressed the amount you wrote in that time period. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you truly dedicated yourself and had to, like, make your mind up that it was going to get done. Nothing else mattered at this exact moment for that time period that you were supposed to be doing it, and you did it. So a lot of people got to learn to do that, is make their mind up and actually push themselves to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's one of those things that's developed. I haven't always been that way. I was extremely lazy and made a lot of mistakes before. I've always been driven. So what you're saying, man, I appreciate it. I thank you. Like, to hear someone else say it, it means that I've gotten rid of that old guy. The way I said it to someone who I was on a radio interview earlier, and I told them, I said, the guy that I am now is doing everything that the guy that I used to be wanted to do, but he was too lazy to do it. Mm-hmm. So the older me is making the younger me proud.
That's important.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Because most people can't even look back and say, would your 10-year-old, 12-year-old, however-year-old self look at you now and be proud of you now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
What do you want people to say about you on the podium? Like, when they're standing over on your deathbed, or when you're in the casket, what are people going to say about you? Are they going to say what you want them to see about you, or are they going to say you were just a tumbleweed in the wind? So.
Yep.
Very true, man. Very true.
So do you do a lot of traveling, or do you do a lot of stuff mainly there in Atlanta, or do you?
It's the gift and the curse, man. I wish I did more in Atlanta. I really now do much more traveling than anything. That's how I met my good friend. I was in Virginia for 2 days that week, then left and went to DC. I'm in Philadelphia this weekend, so I do more traveling than anything else, but I enjoy it. I hate flying, but I love hotels. So and I'm biggest sign of ungratefulness is to complain about anything that comes with what you work for, pray for, or ask for. So I can't complain about flying when flying is possible because somebody wants me to come share what I'm passionate about, which is to speak in their city. Like I would never complain about anything that comes with what I want.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Speechless.
Yeah. You dropping some bombs, man. You dropping some bombs for sure, man.
We don't mean to actually pick the mic back up, but
Oh, you keep on dropping and just walk away, man. You turn around.
But yeah, so cover the author, the books, we've covered the communication, and we've covered the coaching.
So what's next?
Yeah. What's next, Marcus?
Man, to keep building, to keep building. I want to be in a position, which sounds odd. I always tell people, I'll tell you this story very quickly and it'll explain everything without me saying, next I'm going to do this, next I'm going to do this. I went into an office and there was a woman sitting there who was crying. I asked her, why was she crying? Her friend began to tell me that her mother had just gotten killed by her sister. Like, you can only imagine, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to ask any more questions. Her friend began to tell me her mom and her sister got in an argument over the sister's boyfriend. And the sister ended up killing the mom over the boyfriend. So imagine what she's going through at work when your sister's on the way to prison forever. Your mom is dead. Your nieces and nephews is right there in the house watching their grandmother die at the hands of their mom.
Mm.
The only question I could ask the lady is, I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, why are you at work? She said, I'm the single mother of 4. My youngest child has been sick. I've used up all my sick and vacation time, and I got to come to work in order to pay the bills.
Mm.
What's next for me is to be in a position that whenever I hear that, whatever amount she needs, I'm cutting the check. That's what it's about. That money means nothing if you can't meet needs when you hear problems. What good is it for you to know things and do nothing about it?
Exactly. That's, man.
Good night. Good night.
I know you dropped the mic after that one.
Was that the first time you wanted to be able to give like that, or you always had a sense to give?
Not always, man. The way I treat my finances, even to this day, I create a budget for giving. So not just tithe. I believe in that, but I think that everybody ought to create a budget that they can give out. So it might be a grocery store. It might be this. My heart is driven towards single mothers because I know they have the hardest job. But I've always been a giver. I've given away a car before. I've always enjoyed what it felt like to give to somebody else. Now, am I frivolous with that? No, because you can't just go and throw away money. But I also understand, man, I talk in such examples. Y'all got to feel me on this. I think anytime you take more than you give, eventually it automatically perverts everything that you can't get anything back. So, for instance, if you're thinking about a ground and you outside and you take more than you give, eventually there's nothing to get back from it. If you take more than you give in a relationship, there's nothing to get back from it. You take more out of your bank account than you put into it, there's nothing to spend. And I think life is that way. Everything in life, you got to always give more than you take.
And he can keep going and going and going.
It's good stuff, man. This is a real good one. I have a feeling that we're going to have a 2-timer here, man, eventually down the road, man.
You're already calling it, man, for sure.
Hey, 2 times in a row.
And Marcus, maybe you can catch the Entrepreneurial Mind curse, because everybody we've had on the show since day one has almost 3 times what they've been doing. So
yeah, that is true.
But
that is true. So far,
maybe Marcus has stopped the streak, or I don't know.
Nah, he about to write like 20 books, like in the next 2 weeks now.
So he a sportsman, so I knew he can't resist the challenge, man.
we gonna make it happen. I can't let y'all down.
I like it.
Yeah, man, good stuff. So, I mean, you writing books. Of course, I know you got to feed your mind, man. What kind of books you reading, man?
Man, right now I'm reading T.D. Jakes' book called Destiny. I'm also reading a book called The Art of Work. And I'm rereading one of my favorites by Keith Cameron Smith, 10 Distinctions Between the Millionaire and the Middle Class.
10 distinctions between middle class and a millionaire.
Yeah, millionaire and the middle class. A good one that you guys would love, man. He has one that's called The 10 Distinctions Between Millionaire and the Middle Class. He also has one called 10 Distinctions Between the Entrepreneur and the Employee. Both are books that I read every year. Every year I go back through them.
And what's his name, you say?
Keith Cameron Smith.
Oh, okay. You a big audiobook man, or you actually reading paper books?
I actually read, man. I listen to audiobooks like while riding along. I do more speaking type of stuff. You know, I listen to speakers when I'm riding along or working out. I don't really listen to audiobooks a lot because they don't keep my attention.
Mm-hmm.
I rather read and process the information that way.
I feel that's how I am. I'm torn between the two because I be like too busy always trying to do work. And then I was like, I got to make sure I make time to read, man. Either get up in the morning and start doing the morning, or at night. I was doing good at one point.
Yeah, get back on it, man. Myself, I like the feel of the page, the book in your hand, the smell of the book. You just don't get the same feel from the just hearing the words.
I got to underline stuff and everything else.
I got to feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I get it though. Most people like the option. Like I have audio book, and there's some people that's like, no, I want the book, and there's a great deal of people that's like, man, I keep listening to it over and over while they're riding along. So it's reinforcement.
Right.
Okay. So of course now I had this question. I wrote it down for you because we haven't asked nobody this question. I've heard this question on other podcasts, but because you mentioned the difference between your younger self and you can look back now and you can see the difference and everything. And I have a question of, what would you tell your younger self now? If you could give them one piece of advice, what would you tell them? The lazy you know what I'm saying?
Man, what would I tell that guy? I would tell him the importance of consistency. So my talk with him would be, well, actually two things, confidence and consistency. I would tell him, man, listen, you have much more than you realize. You're gifted. The other thing I would tell him is, man, make sure you're more consistent with the things that you're doing. Those would be the two things. I think those are the difference makers.
So you believe you were doing the right things, you just weren't doing it consistently enough?
I wasn't consistent with anything. That was my struggle. I wasn't consistent with anything, and I wasn't very confident in the things that I did.
Okay. Feels good to grow up, huh?
Oh, man. Listen, man. The day you meet you is the greatest day of your life.
Boy. Well, Marcus, first of all, we appreciate you for coming on. Thanks for dropping all the good jewels, all the good nuggets, man. You've shared so much knowledge with the community. I'm sure you're going to get everybody up and ready to go tomorrow morning, so whenever we air it. So, yeah, thanks for coming on, first of all.
Oh, man, my pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, this was real good stuff, man.
What are your parting words for the audience moving forward?
Man, my parting words for the audience is what I tell everybody, man. Nothing good has ever come from stopping. Nothing great has ever been accomplished from settling. So the life equation for success is to never stop, plus never settle, and it will always equal win the day.
Never stop, never settle, win the day.
Boom. Right there. You know what I'm saying? There it is. So tell everybody, man, how can they get in touch with you, man? I know you dropped your social media and stuff earlier. Well,
absolutely. I am the easiest person in the world to find. You can find me by searching my name. So I'm on all social media platforms, from Instagram to Periscope, Snapchat. Marcus, the letter Y, Rosier, Marcus Y Rosier. My website is that as well. So I can be found on any of those platforms or my website by the name Marcus Y Rosier.
It is. Go find him. Buy his book. I'm going to go buy it myself here soon, man. And go ahead and give it a read. You're dropping good stuff.
Oh, man, let me know once you check it out.
Hopefully we'll be seeing Marcus back in the beach area. And I'm sure we're going to see you in the fall when we do what we do.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Hey, man, just say the word and I'm there.
For sure, man.
That's what's up. So, man, you can go ahead and finish winning the day.
Absolutely, man. Y'all have a great day.
All right, man. All right.